Welcome traders to our midweek technical analysis video. So jumping straight into things here, let's go from the start of the week. So here we have market open. One thing, obviously, if you have been watching our previous technical analysis videos, one thing we have noticed over the last two market opens, we've seen an extremely bullish candlestick. So for example, the first, not last week, but the week before, we saw price open up. And this was the first candlestick, as you can see, a big bullish one. The next market open was this candlestick here, and we spoke about this last week, and the amount of exhaustion that we saw, indicated by this big wick. And then, as you can see here, if I go ahead and just move over real quick, as you can see here, we have an exhaustion candlestick, the same sort of thing that we saw here, but in the opposite direction. So now, what does this tell us, just basing it off of patterns? So this week, we saw a bullish impulse beginning the market, and then what followed? A bearish market. This week, we saw a bullish impulse at the beginning of the market, and what did we see for that week? We saw a bearish market. However, as you can see, this week was different. It was the opposite. This week, we saw a bearish impulse in comparison to a bullish impulse, driving price down, and then price sort of sucking itself back up, if you will, creating a nice long wick, a nice bit of exhaustion, and then so far, price has been bullish. So we've been in a bull market this week as of the hourly time frame, and as of this week. So let's go ahead and mark in what we can see and what we could expect for this week. So as you can see, price ended up dropping down. We came up, we've created our first higher high and then our first higher low. The reason that I'm going to stop here is because it's quite interesting. As you can see, price ended up creating a support on previous resistance. So if I mark this in, you can see that the support that was found here was actually on previous resistance. So the sort of like final area, or the final place within this area where price sort of slowed itself down, dropped off, and then continued on bullish. So continuing on, first higher high, first higher low, then price pushed all the way up, all the way up. We ended up getting a break of structure of our first point of interest at around 3,290, with price eventually breaking through this first higher high as well, indicating to us that price was going to continue on bullish. And as you can see, price more or less continued on bullish. Obviously, we have some slight retracements on the lower time frames. However, as it goes for the hour, we are just seeing a bullish market. Price drove all the way up to this level here, the 3,355 level. If you remember from our post-week market analysis, we spoke about this level being the next sort of major pivot point for gold, along with the 3,300 level, which obviously got broken through around here. As you can see, if I go ahead and grab in another point of interest, you can see that the 3,300 level is here. We first created sort of the first minor, the first lower high after this initial pushback down, but then price ended up breaking through and sort of testing back as support. So continuing on, price has touched this level of 3,355 and has since been consolidating. So pretty much the entirety of the day has just been consolidation, with price sort of establishing a main support area and a main resistance area. So what could we expect to see for the next week? We're going to go ahead and delete these paths, delete these drawings, just so it's a little bit cleaner. That will do. And we're going to go down to our minute 15 time frame and just sort of dissect in a little bit of a clearer fashion for you, and help you understand what we could expect and what we're currently seeing. So as you can see, we have a bottom side support of this current consolidating range, and we have a top side resistance of this consolidating range. So we have a sort of common area of resistance, these two areas here, and a common area of support. We also have a mid-level, so we have this whole area here. We have a mid-level of support. So we have a top side resistance, a middle sort of pivotal point, and a bottom side support. So what we're going to be looking for and anticipating for these for the next few hours and for the next week We're going to be looking at this area and to see what price does around this area, and then determine whether we're going to see a bullish or a bearish move. So as you can see right now, price is currently testing at that middle pivotal point. If we see price continue on bullish and eventually clear this previous high of around 3,350, and then the next high that we just spoke about at 3,355, a bullish move is a lot more likely than a bearish move. However, a bearish move is definitely still likely, and if anything, a bearish move is a lot simpler to sort of break down. So what would a bearish move look like? What would we want to anticipate for a bearish move to then confirm itself and then be able to take trades with it? So what we'd expect to see, or what we'd want to see, is price push down from this level and eventually break through this level of 3,330, clearing these two lows here, clearing the support level, and then eventually continuing on bullish. However, there is a scenario that we could see price come back down to test this level as a support, as it has done twice already, and then continue on and continue to consolidate, or then become bullish and touching newer highs, creeping again closer to this level of around 3,400. So that is definitely an opportunity for a bullish move as well. We could potentially see price continue bullish from this area, come up to test the around 3,355 like it did here, and then continue bearish, and then again begin to consolidate between these areas. So there's a few moves that we could expect to see here. However, as of right now, looking at current price action that we are seeing, again going back down to our hour, it looks like we've created that first major high since this low here. Price is just sort of forming a support level at around this area here, and then what we're expecting is to see price push on, break through this high of 3,355, and then continue on to our next major point of interest, which is 3,370. So with all that being said, that is going to be our midweek technical analysis update. I hope you have all enjoyed. Remember, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will catch up with the comments on the last video when I am done making this video. I know there is a few, so I'll get back in touch with you guys and I will follow up on whatever it is that you have said. But yeah, concluding the market. So we've seen a bullish market this week since market open. Price has created the first major high at 3,355, and price has then since dropped, testing around the area of 3,340, where price is sort of consolidating on the lower time frames. In the most likely scenario, building up enough momentum until the volume of volatility kicks back in, and then we see price push on past that previous high of 3,355. So once again, that's going to be our midweek technical analysis. I hope you've all enjoyed. Peace.